Good afternoon, everyone. We all are gathered here today for today's webinar as we speak on the used oil regulations released under Chapter 7 of the Used Oil under Hazardous and Other Waste Management and Transboundary Movement Second Amendment Rules of 2023. I am Ipsita Roy and I will be moderating today's session. The regulations of used oil came into force on September 18, 2023, with enforcement from April 1, 2024. CPCB also released the EPR portal for used oil management on June 24, 2024, and today we are highlighting the regulations pertaining to producers' obligations, updates, and circulars released under the said rules, and walkthrough of the EPR portal towards filing the application for EPR registration. Our voices for today are Mr. Abhishek Garg. He is a chartered accountant of 2011 batch and comes with an experience of 15 plus years. He is also the founder of our firm AA Garg & Co. or A2G as we call it from almost 6 years back. Myself, Ipsita Roy, I come with a cumulative experience of 9 years in the EPR and ESG industry. Mr. Bharat Gaggar. Bharat comes with 3+ years of experience in EPR and excels in the plastic, e-waste, and battery waste management rules. Now, without further ado, I welcome our first speaker for today's session, Mr. Abhishek Garg.
So thank you, Ipshita. Thank you for that context setting and warm welcome and apprising all our attendees about the usual EPR webinar what we are holding today. And thank you all of you for joining in and taking out very valuable time out of your calendars, busy schedules to know about more about used oil and the EPR obligation as well as the registration process around it. So without any further ado, we will quickly delve into the regulations and what it requires. Yeah. Now, so before getting into the rules and what it talks about and the key things, I just will quickly focus on what is the evolution of these rules has happened. As Ipshita already mentioned, this is a regulation under the hazardous rules, and there is a separate chapter which has been introduced in 2023. So in 2016, it was firstly defined, hazard was another waste management regulations, and which was released on April 4, 2016. In 2023, the regulation of EPR was introduced through introduction of a new chapter under this same regulation, and this which governs the EPR regulation for the used oil. Now it hasn't stopped there, and as we have seen the evolution of EPR regulations in India, it is used oil is further evolved in 2024, wherein the first amendment was released and the SOP, and now recently the they have released the SOPs, they have released the portal for initiating the registration process. Glad to share that we have the consolidated regulation which is as updated with the amendments, and I'm sure the team will be sharing the same with the all the attendees who have joined in here today. Please move to the next slide. Now, this is a one-page slide which tries to cover the used oil EPR regulation in a nutshell for anybody to understand what is the regulation explains and make the compliance applicable. The first thing, the EPR targets. The EPR targets over here are for the producers who introduces the lubrication or the base oil in the market, which leaves the residual after its usage. So for a company a company who's involved in selling the lubrication oil in the market, basis the sales they have done 2 years prior today, that quantum of sales would be taken, and the percentage which is a EPR target which is slab by target, we're starting with 5% for FY 24-25. That quantum will be as an EPR target for the companies. As I said, the target is based on the average life of 2 years. So if you have sold lubrication oil in 22-23, those quantity multiplied with the target will be your obligation EPR obligation target for 24-25. How do you fulfill those targets? It's very simple. What's mentioned under the regulation, that only the registered recyclers of used oil will be able to produce the certificate, and that is going to happen on the online portal, the same portal which today our team will be taking you through. Further, the importers who are importing used oil, and again I'm mentioning used oil, which is residual oil, who are importing in India, they need to take 100% of the obligation of the used oil they have imported. And a very important part, that they can import it only for the recycling purposes, not for the end of life, which is co-processing of those used oil in India. So those are the things regarding the targets. Then who are the obligated entities under the regulation? First and the foremost, the producers are required to register, they are required to take up the EPR obligation, and there is a defined detailed list about the definition and who falls under the definition of producer in the upcoming slide. The collection agents are also required to register under the regulation, and they are responsible for collecting and channelizing those used oil to registered recyclers. There are other obligations also been put, and responsibility has been specified under the regulations. And then very importantly, recycler. So recycler will also be getting registered on this portal, wherein they will be following the SOP process to generate the online certificate, which will be then used to fulfill your target of you for the producer who are introducing the base oil or lubrication oil in the market. And definitely used oil importers, the importers who are importing used oil, which is a residual oil in the India, they need to register separately. And yes, they need to take up 100% of their target of quantity they have imported in the 1 year back, not 2 years back, for the used oil importers. A key thing to note, that the entities mentioned who are obligated under this regulation are not allowed to do business without registration, and not allowed to do business with the entities who are not registered, both. So this is an important thing. Any company who are dealing in such products, they need to register as under EPR to continue their business. Further, if you are operating as a producer, if you are operating as a used oil importer, if you are operating as a collection agent, and if you are obligated as a recycler, then you need to register separately as a separate obligation under the same portal. Then comes what is obligated. There are two things which are obligated under the regulation, which is base oil and lubrication oil. And a very important note, I know there are multiple kinds of oils which can be, defined, which is hydraulic oil, engine oil, white oil, multiple types of oil, which you will see in the upcoming slides when you see the portal screenshots, how they have further defined. But the key thing to remember in this regulation, the oil which leaves residual oil after its usage is what is obligated, and not every oil. So, for example, grease is not going to be obligated, but a very important note here, for registration purpose, it is registration is applicable to everyone. However, you might not have get the obligation depending on what you are using and what you are producing and selling. But the most important thing, the registration is very important. So keep that in mind. That is something I would want to leave it with all the attendees to hear today. Another important thing, in the recycling, there are two kinds of recycling they have considered under the regulation. One is re-refining the used oil or the base oil, which is recycling, and energy recovery, wherein the used oil is incinerated and it is not regenerated, which we call is end of life. And there are regulatory compliances also, which is, I said that online registration is a key thing. EPR fulfillment is through certificates you have to take from the registered and authorized recyclers only. Also, the companies will have to provide contact details to consumer through websites, through advertisements, documentation, etc. There's an annual filing requirement wherein you have to file the returns for the prior year completion of targets, and also provide annually what is your purchase and sales as you have provided in the registration. That you have to keep on doing annually, so then every year the targets will be changed, and every year this keeps on going on as a post registration process. And
राजीव सर राइट
and just a moment. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, there are certain limitations on the producers to buy the quantum of EPR certificates from the recyclers on the portal. And if the companies do not fulfill the requirement compliances as stipulated, there will be penalties called as environmental compensation, which will be charged to the companies. And this works in a mechanism wherein you are not absolved of the compliances and obligations. You are just given a time extra by taking some money as a deposit under the custody of the government, and then they will refund as you complete your uncompleted obligation or compliance in the defined period timeline. So this is about one pager for your used oil EPR compliances. Please move to the next slide. Very importantly, what does the definition and who are covered as a producer under the used oil EPR obligations? So over here on the left side, you see what is the definition which has been provided under the regulation chapter 7, and on the right side you see what are the different types of producer they have categorized in a 9 category specifically on the portal. So not defined very clearly on this 9 items on the regulation, but on the portal it is very clearly defined the 9 types, so which makes it clear what they are trying to categorize the producer under which category. So let me take you through and explain what is the definition entails to. So under the definition on the in the regulation, it says any company, irrespective of your selling technique, who manufacture and offers to sell. So any company who's even manufacturing and it's not or, and also offering to sell under those oil under its own brand name domestically, yes, you are obligated as producer. If you offer to sell replication oil domestically under your own brand, but you have used base oil manufactured by other manufacturer suppliers. So ultimately, if you are introducing those lubrication oil procured from other suppliers, and then offering to sell under your brand, yes, you are a producer, you have to take the obligation. And you offers to sell imported base oil or lubrication oil domestically, again you are a producer. Further, the 9 types were the very critical one to define the obligations are: P1, very clearly manufactures and sell base oil; P2, importers of base oil; P3, manufactures base oil and sell lubrication oil under its brand or co-brand; P4, importer of lubrication oil; P5, a company who procures base oil domestically and sell base oil and its products under its brand or co-brand. P6 is a crucial one, procures lubrication oil domestically and sell under its co-brand or co-brand. P7 procures base oil domestically and sells lubrication under its brand or co-brand. P8 procures re-refined, which is a recycled oil-based oil or lubrication oil, and selling it as under own brand or a co-brand. And finally, P9 manufactures and sells refined recycled oil under its own brand or co-brand. So these are the 9 different categories which have been defined and which has been structured under the registration portal, even clarified on the SOP as well. Please go ahead. So okay, this was from my side. I hope you will get, all of you will have a good, nice session and will be a value enriching session for all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abhishek, for your guidance and taking us through the regulations. Looking at the circulars and updates that have been issued by CPCB under the used oil regulations. So the first circular that I'm taking up today is from July 2nd, 2024, which was issued to the Joint Secretary, the Central Board of Excise and Custom. This was in relation to the launch of EPR portal for used oil management and clearing the consignments related to the import of base oil and lubrication oil. So CPCB in this particular circular has referenced the letter to the custom authority telling them that the base oil and lubrication oil and other oil products which are derived from the base oil and lubrication oils and their HSN codes which will be imported will be taken up with the registration application to be filed by the producers after taking an undertaking till the time EPR portal is launched on June 24, 2024. It was further advised to the custom department to consider clearing the import consignments of base oil and lubrication oil based on the production of registration certificate issued by CPCB or a proof of application submission for registration on the used oil EPR portal. Real-time data of submitted applications can also be accessed through the national dashboard on the EPR portal of used oil management was also been discussed in this particular circular. The second circular, which was also released on July 2nd, 2024, was being issued to the member secretary of all the state pollution control boards and the pollution control committees, and the list of the same was given as an annexure to this particular circular. Through this circular, CPCB informed all the SPCBs and PCCs about the EPR portal for used oil management, which was live, and requesting them to so that the manufacturers and producers and importers which are in their state or the union territories can sign up and do the registration. So, since the regulation commenced on April 1, 2024, the EPR portal thereafter was launched on 24th of June 2024. CPCB also informed that all the entities can do the sign up, while only the producers can submit the application for the registration. CPCB had also released the SOP for the registration process and FAQs so that all the queries related to the registration could be cleared out through the FAQs. The URL of the EPR portal was also being shared. There are other modules which CPCB will be coming up, which is in relation to the EPR certificate generation and transfer, the registration for recycler, importer, and the collection agent, audits which are to be conducted, and environmental compensation. Further, a very important note that was being written in this circular that CPCB had requested SPCB and PCCs to direct the manufacturers and importers of base oil or lubrication oil and other products manufactured from the base oil to register as producer on the used oil EPR portal latest by July 31, 2024. Please ensure that you all are now aligned with this circular. And yes, the CPCB has requested to perform the registration on the EPR portal latest by July 31, 2024. Further, CPCB also released the SOP and the FAQs that are being listed over here. Now I request Bharat to take us through the walkthrough of the EPR portal.
Thank you, Ipsita, for the introduction. Good afternoon and hello, everyone. Warm welcome to you all in this webinar. So I'll be taking you through the entire registration process for used oil on the CPCB portal. As you can see, we are on the home page of the CPCB portal, wherein you have different sections where you can refer to the rules, the SOPs and guidelines, the dashboard wherein you will be able to see the number of applications that is received and that is submitted, the circular and notices. In case of queries, as mentioned earlier, you can refer to the FAQs, video tutorials, and also CPCB would be conducting a meeting on every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, wherein between 4 to 5 p.m. wherein you can connect over a virtual meeting and ask your queries and get the responses. So the first step that we have to do is the sign up process. Next slide, please. So the sign up process is majorly of 3 steps. The first step refers to wherein you select the type of entity that you are: a recycler, an importer of used oil, a collection agent, as well as a producer. Next, the company details you are required to fill in, wherein you have, as mentioned on the screen, you have GST number, the name of the company, legal name, email ID, state or union territory, district, registered address, PIN code, PAN number, TIN number, IEC number, and CIN number are optional. These are, on the voluntary reporting of yours that you can submit or not. Then one important thing here, GST number is validated from the GST portal. So make sure you are entering the right GST number or else it would not go further. Coming to the authorized person details, you are required to enter the name of the authorized person, the designation, landline number is optional again, mobile number, email ID and PAN number of the authorized person. Along with these entries, you are required to submit the documents as well, as you can see on the screen. Next slide, please. So once we are done with the sign up, you'll be coming to the producer dashboard in this case, and where you'll be able to see the EPR target, which will reflect directly for 25-26 as mentioned. And then below that, you can see the action button wherein you can start continuing your application for the registration. The registrations tab here on the just below the dashboard mentions the count of registrations that you have done for all the and respectively for the financial years. Now we move to the general details of the registration application. Here all the details will be auto populated. Please note that here the financial year 23-24 and 22-23 is mentioned, wherein you first need to select 22-23, upload all the details for 22-23 financial year, and then subsequently move on to FY 23-24. The details here will be auto populated. In case there is something missed, you can review this and fill in the details and click on save and next. Coming to the type of producers, as discussed earlier, there are 9 types of producers as mentioned by Mr. Abhishek, wherein you need to select the type of producer applicable to your organization, and there are options wherein you can choose more than one as well. If you have a production facility, then you need to provide the details of the production facility as mentioned in the dialog box, and if you don't have one, then just click on no and click on save and next. Now coming to the important section of the application, which is the procurement data. In the procurement data, you are required to enter the details of the procured used oil that you are procuring for the financial years 23-24 and 22-23, both the years. Now, firstly, you'll have to select the type of oil. The list is about of 15 different types of oils which are used. These oils are basically associated with the base oil, wherein you will be getting the obligation for the residual value of the oil and not the quantity that is uploaded here. Okay, so the HSN code will be auto populated basis the type of oil that you select. In case the HSN codes are more than one, then you need to select the appropriate and relevant code that is applicable to the product. Then you need to enter the quantity that you have produced domestically in metric tons, further quantity procured domestically in metric tons, and subsequently quantity imported. You can add multiple entries, and the entries will be shown just below the tab where you have been entering the data. Once all the entries are uploaded, you need to provide a CA certified procurement document which will verify the entries uploaded from your end. Then click on save and next. Coming to the sales data, we have different fields wherein we need to enter the quantities that is being domestically sold and to different type of producers. Herein the type of oil and HSN code will be auto populated, that you don't have to fill in. Coming to the entries of the quantities that you have to do, first is the total quantity sold domestically. So the total quantity sold domestically you'll have to enter here. The other sections are now a bifurcation of that total quantity. Firstly, you have the quantity that is sold to the producer who is making products and selling it in the market with their brand name. Second is quantity sold to the producers who are selling directly with their brand name in the market. Third is the quantity sold to producers who are co-branding with your brand. Fourth is the quantity sold in the open market. And after the quantity, the bifurcation of the entire total quantity you have mentioned, you then need to select whether is there any residual oil generated from this oil or not. If you select yes, then you will need to enter the further details. If you select no, then here your target will be 0 for this particular oil. In case you select yes, you have to mention the operational loss in usage in terms of percentage. And then your quantity for the EPR target will be arrived subtracting from the total quantity that you have sold domestically. And then you will get the tentative EPR target. And you can also mention the brand name, which can, if in case of multiple brand names, you can separate it through a comma and then click on save. All the fields are here mandatory. Please note that for the quantity sold to 3 different producers with the I buttons or the I mark on the screen, you need to upload Excel format, which will show in the next slide. And that format Excel file actually needs to be uploaded on each of these 3 data fields. Coming to the Excel template, this is the Excel template that you have for the producers which you will be uploading the data for. Herein you can see the entity name to whom the oil is sold, the address, GST number, quantity of oil sold in metric tons, email ID of the entity, and the contact number of the entity. So this needs to be uploaded there. Once you have uploaded the entire sales data, you will now be coming to the section of declaration, wherein you need to share and upload the undertaking in a PDF format as seen on the screen, and you will have to mention the total quantity of lubrication or base oil sold, and then you have to click on accept and click on save and next. The final step is making the payments. So the payment slabs are as mentioned on the screen. Less than 5,000 metric ton, the registration fees is 25,000 excluding the taxes. 5,000 to 10,000 metric tons, it is 50,000 rupees. 10,000 to 50,000 metric tons, it is rupees 2 lakh. 50,000 to 1 lakh metric tons, it is rupees 5 lakh. Again, excluding all these are excluding the taxes, and greater than 1 lakh is 1 lakh metric ton is rupees 10 lakhs. The payment can be made through net banking, UPI, or credit cards. The late fee mechanism is not yet uploaded and updated on the portal. It will be coming in due course, and with this we shall be completing our registration process. Now coming to the process of application. So once your registration is submitted, there will be a time of 21 working days for acceptance or rejection of the application that will be taken by the government authorities. If the application is incomplete and when the CPCB or the government authority feels that there is more information to be required, they will further contact you and ask for the requisite information. Applications will be rejected if false or irrelevant information or document is submitted. Application fees again shall be forfeited in these cases, and you will have to make a fresh application with the applicable fees. The portal, you will be getting the digitally signed registration certificate from the portal itself, and the portal also has a provision for internal processing of applications within the CPCB, wherein the member secretary shall be the approving authority for issuing the certificate. Next slide, please. Yes, the amendments and revocation. So amendments and revocation is regarding the application over here. If there is an amendment or applied amendment in the 21 days time period, there will be no charges. After 21 days, there will be a charge of rupees 10,000 for each requested amendments. Please note this, there will be a charge of 10,000 for each requested amendment, and then CPCB shall review the amendments, and then if required, they will ask you for additional documentation, or they will be approving the registration application. In terms of application revocation, furnishing the false or willfully concealing the information will again lead to revocation of the application. Revocation will be up to the period of 5 years with environmental compensation being levied onto you, and the producer will be given an opportunity to heard prior to all these actions are initiated, and the cancellation of registration is finally or the registration is basically cancelled. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, that was it from my end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bharat, for taking us through step by step for filing the application for registration on the EPR portal for used oil management. That was really insightful, and I hope that the steps were really clear to each and every one over here. For any queries, we will take up your queries in the Q&A round. I'll take a brief moment here to tell you about AA Garg and Co. So we are a management consulting firm working in the areas of EPR, that is Extended Producers Responsibility, ESG, that is Environment Social Governance, Corporate Finance and Business Solutions, and we also provide tech-enabled solutions. We are a small team size of 60 plus members and a young company of 6 years. But yes, we have developed ourselves in the expertise of with sustainability experts, environmental engineers, MBAs, chartered accountants, technical experts, and partners. We are serving more than 200 companies till date with a clientele of 30 plus Fortune 500 companies. So we are known as the experts of EPR in the industry. And yes, you can see that we are working all across the waste management wherever the EPR framework is applicable today, be it plastic waste management rules, e-waste management rules, waste tire under hazardous waste management rules, battery waste management rules, used oil under hazardous waste, and the draft stage of end of life vehicle. So yes, we are as a one-stop solution wherein we can help you throughout your EPR journey. Well, how do we come into your service? Let us understand this. So during your registration, it is really important to first of all do the obligation or the footprint assessment, wherein we come to know that what are your procurement and what are your sales. Once we have the assessment in place, we do also provide the CA certificates, which will assist you in filing of the application. We help you and support you with the entire process of registration application filing till approval. Post the approval, we serve you with the post-registration compliances as well, such as EPR target fulfillment plan of action strategies. We also support you with the concurrent and compliance reporting and annual returns filing. Apart from this, we also serve with the consulting and advisory, wherein we keep on reporting on regulatory updates and various notifications and circulars that keep coming in from CPCB's or MOEFCC's end. In case of any queries, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact numbers and email ID is mentioned on the screen. Please feel free to write to us. We have also, in order to proceed ahead with the EPR registration, our checklist for used oil registration for the producers is ready. Please feel free to reach out to us for any queries. Thank you everyone for spending your valuable time today with us. And with this, I conclude today's session. Thank you so much.